take 2 of recording this. We are here in China, guys, and it's going to be an interesting race to say the least. It was a very bad qualifying. Excuse me, for ourselves. We managed to only get as high as P18. I may or may not have made a mistake in qualifying at turn 1. So I mean, you know, I made a boo-boo, but we're going to do what we can. We're going to do our best to get into the points from P18. We've got a turn 1 here in China, which we all know is a very easy corner to make a lot of positions in any game, any series, anything to do with F1. It's such an easy corner. If you take the right angle and you swoop underneath all the cars, and you can make a lot of positions, especially if you're starting from the back as well. So that's what we're going to try and do. We're going to try and maximise that exploit, I guess. I'm not sure. I guess you could class it as that. But Sebastian Vettel and Kimi Raikkonen are on the front row. Lewis Hamilton and Valtteri Bottas on the third, and both Red Bulls on the third. Yeah. Well, I just can't do maths. I'm melting. I stayed up all night last night from midnight launch to play F1 2017, and it was worth it, but my brain is pretty much mush at this point. We just came off the back of the Australian Grand Prix. If you haven't seen that one, go check that out. This is for the F1 Championship, and we have 5 lights here in China, and we get off to another poor start. I mean, Australia wasn't too bad, but this one wasn't exactly fantastic. We're going to have a look at who's ahead of us. We're going to try and do what we set out to do. We come close to Van Dorn, but as you can see, there we go. Little bit more. Okay, there you go. Top 10. That's fantastic. So it's just how the cars work. Like, the cars can't turn around that corner at the angle they go in. So if we go in at the angle that we just did, then we're just going to get so many positions, and we're almost going to get damage from hitting the back of Sergio Perez. So that was bad. We didn't want that, but it could have been a lot worse for us as we try and navigate this corner as best as we can. We've made 8 positions so far in about just over half a lap. We're going to have a look at Sergio Perez as well, and we're going to make that 9 positions in about a lap. So we've got Felipe Massa just ahead of us, who's going to be pretty rapid down the start finish straight, but we're going to have to do what we can. As we move on to lap 3, our DRS is open, and we're going to do exactly what we did in the last. We're just going to sit back and watch the AI scrap, and we're just going to see and hope that they can do something, you know, maybe slow each other down just like Vettel and Hamilton did. But we're going to have to try and pick up the pieces as best we can. And it looks like Magnussen is going to go slow. I mean, Grosjean, sorry, is going slowly. So we're going to open the DRS and we're going to pull alongside. But that Ferrari engine is going to yank him down along the straight a lot quicker than this Renault engine is going to do. We're going to go into turn 1, and we're going to have to go all the way around the outside. He's actually going to squeeze us a little bit to try and push us offline and off camber, which you don't want to do because that's what happened in qualifying. And here we are. Imagine if we started in like top 10, we'd be leading the race by now. It'd be fantastic. But we can't dwell on what ifs. We've got Felipe Massa still ahead of us. Lap 4, we've got our DRS wide open, and we're going to just do our best. Like, we're punching well above our weight in terms of the last race, and I think the optimal place to finish is going to be P7 every race. That means we're behind the Red Bulls, Ferraris and Mercedes, but we're better than everyone else. That may not sound like much, but that's acceptable in a Renault at least anyway. If it was a Force India, maybe challenge Red Bull a little bit, but we dispatched of Massa coming into turn 1. We're going to look a little bit further ahead of the Grand Prix, nearly lap 7 for us. I'm going to come into the pit lane, and we're going to see just how close we can get to the pit limit. It's ridiculous, like how close we get, especially with the speed limit. The speed limit in both times now, we have narrowly missed it. Like, we're gonna mess up eventually, and we're actually gonna end up having a penalty. But we can't worry about that right now. We've got Daniel Ricciardo, who looks a little bit closer than he was before we came into the pit lane. So I mean, I'd love to catch up to Daniel Ricciardo and take a P6, but I mean, he's in a Red Bull, and I don't think it's possible. So what I did, I actually stopped my recording around about there, and I actually had to start it up again because we were actually catching Daniel Ricciardo, and I didn't think we was going to get anywhere else. I thought we was going to just drive around in P7 for about 8 laps. But we actually closed up, and we have DRS on Daniel Ricciardo. He's got to have some sort of issue, because even with this works Renault engine, we can't steamroll the Red Bull like that in a straight line. That's just not fair. Bearing in mind I have got no setup on, it's just the bog standard setup, which I'll run for all of these championships just because it makes it a whole lot easier, and I ain't got to worry about that. But similar to what happened in Australia, we're just going to get to lap 11 or the back end of the Grand Prix, and we just haven't got it no more. Like, we just lose it. Like, we just can't keep the tyres. Or, I mean, for myself personally, I know I was losing a lot of concentration towards the end of this race. I just wasn't feeling it. Like, I was just driving around, I was like, oh my lord, you know, hurry up, please, end. But just because, like, I just found it so boring, just not catching Verstappen, not being overtaken by Daniel Ricciardo, to the point where I was just making silly errors just because I had a lack of concentration. Like here, I just missed my braking point, go off, but the second Ricciardo goes past me, I'm like, alright, let's go get him, let's overtake him. Like, it's so weird. Like, I don't know why this race, like last race, wasn't too bad, because like, I actually had to properly defend. Like, I knew I had to defend from the Mercedes, but because Ricciardo hasn't got that much straight line speed, I didn't have to worry as much, and it was just so boring, like battling Ricciardo on a straight. Like, it just doesn't work. But we do get back into our lovely P6. We're going to try and keep that, as Verstappen's just flown up the road. He was only a few seconds ahead, but Ricciardo is still going to come at us. He must have turned the engine mix up, because there's no way that we steamrolled him like that, and then, you know, he just dropped off. Like, it makes no sense. But we're going to come across the line and have a guess who won the second Grand Prix. He wears red overalls, he has a red and white car, he's got a fantastic sense of humour, and he doesn't smile a lot. So if you guessed it, yes, Kimi Räikkönen won the second round of this World Championship. He is in stellar form. He's going to be a difficult man to beat in anyone's championship, because the only time I've seen him not win a race, I think, was when his car blew up. And that's the only time, so that is a phenomenal record. But it's going to get patched eventually, because it should be someone like Sebastian Vettel doing that, and Lewis Hamilton, not Kimi Räikkönen. But I'm going to enjoy it while I can, as it's nice to see someone else winning, as opposed to just Hamilton and Vettel. The occasional Bottas, but more often than not, it will be Kimi Räikkönen winning. But obviously, when it happens, it happens. But it's been a good race. If we started higher up, it would have been a whole lot better. We might have had a bit more battles. But hopefully in Bahrain, which is the next race, we'll be battling a lot more people and managing to actually have some good old scraps, because defending isn't fun. I mean, it's not too bad, but there you go. Kimi Räikkönen, Lewis Hamilton and Sebastian Vettel claim the podium. Valtteri Bottas just ahead of Max Verstappen, ourselves just ahead of Ricciardo and Massa. Sergio Perez and Kevin Magnussen rounds out the top 10. Romain Grosjean, Esteban Ocon and Lance Stroll manage to complete the top 13. But anyway guys, until next video, I'll see you then. Bye bye.